Hey gang, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows, and today I'm looking at the game Trickster's Champions of Time from Action Phase Games. In Trickster's Champions of Time, players will be controlling the heroes of the multiverse, trying to land them with trouble points. It's a 2 to 7 player game. It's from designer Daniel Solis, and it's illustrated by Beth Sobel. We got a copy from Action Phase Games, so let's take a look at it. To set up the game, pull out the 14 different decks of hero cards and select 7 of them to play with. Shuffle them together and then deal the appropriate number of cards to players based on your player count. Deal 6 cards to the trash and place the remaining cards in a draw pile next to that. The start player or leader may begin the round by laying any card he chooses, and if possible he must take the actions written on his card. Actions include things like moving cards from your tableau to your hand, or from your tableau to the trash, or to another player's tableau. The second player to lay each round is referred to as the Trickster. This player gets to determine whether all of the remaining players must play a card of the same suit, of the same hero, or if they must all play different cards. If a player is not able to follow what the Trickster has led, they lose the hand and must collect everything that's in the pot. If everyone is able to play, then the Trickster is stuck with the pot. He becomes the leader for the next round though, and the player to his left will become the next Trickster. The round ends after one player has been able to lay all of his cards, everyone else's cards are added to their tableau, and then trouble points are tallied. Each player gains 1 point per card in their tableau, unless they have the most of that suit, and then they will gain no points for those cards. The cards are then reshuffled and 2 more rounds are played, and the player with the fewest trouble points at the end of the game wins. Trickster Champion of Time is a nice, lightweight, solid, party, trick-taking card game that really has some unique scoring mechanisms in it that kind of keep you guessing and working throughout the game. As you lay your cards, you don't want to win any of those cards, so you don't want to be the loser of the trick. If you do get stuck with those cards, then suddenly you do want to get the most of that suit so that you don't score points for them at the end. And because every single card in the game has its own written description and some kind of an effect on your gameplay, you'll find that the game swings pretty crazy. I know I've played a couple rounds where I had like 2 cards in front of me on one turn, and then suddenly his action was to throw cards at me, and his action was to throw cards at me, and my next one I was stuck with a card that had me pulling more cards. Suddenly, within one hand or two different tricks, I had all the cards in front of me, nobody else had any in front of them, and that swing goes crazy left and right. It is a little bit easy in this game, I think, to probably team up on people and just start throwing all of your cards at them. But, like I said earlier, it's kind of cool because if you have the most of them, then you don't score any points for them. I wish the game came with a score pad. I don't know why it doesn't. Could have been a piece of paper and a pencil. You do have to keep score throughout the game. One of the nice things about the game is you can play 3, that's the recommended number of rounds, but you could really play as many or as few as you wanted, so it works as a great filler where you can just plop some out really quick and play them, or you can play a much longer game if you get really into it. Another nice feature of the game is that there are a huge number of decks in the game. You're only going to play with like less than half on each round each time you play it, and those can be shaken up quite a bit, and a lot of those powers can really vary. So you might have one that's all about getting rid of your cards, and then the other hero's power might be all about getting cards, and so you can kind of balance those. The game also does have some nice recommendations on what they think you should play with to start with, and then recommendations for how to tweak that as you go further. I think there's even a variant in there where you can pick the heroes by drafting them at the beginning of the game, so everybody kind of gets a say on what might be in their hand and what might not be. Really interesting stuff. We've had some fun with it. I've played it with very casual gamers, and they were able to pick it up and enjoy it. I played it with heavier gamers who were really thinking through, like, do I lead it? I don't want to lead with this, because then I want to have this later in my hand, and this is the best action. A lot of cool stuff. I didn't mention this in the overview, but the iconography on the cards is actually really solid too, because you do have a lot of reading, especially when you start off with a big hand of like 11 cards sometimes. The icons, once you understand what they mean, are actually really helpful to tell you, oh, this card means I get to give it to somebody else. Really fun, easy stuff to jump into. Beth Sobel did the art on it. I mentioned that. Really beautiful character illustrations and just card art and iconography overall. Really enjoyed it. If it sounds like something you might enjoy, check out Trickster's Champions of Time. And then be sure to subscribe to Tantrum House and follow along with all the videos that we're putting out all the time. Catch you guys next time. Hey gang, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows, and I'm Sarah Meadows. Just kidding, she's not here today. Pros of the multiverse and get them and avoid them doing trouble. Tricksters, Champions of Time. My voice is failing, I'm all raspy. Action phase. I don't think they're called that anymore. I should probably look that up, but I'm pretty sure they combined with like 3 other companies, and now they're a new company. Jiggity, jiggity, jig. I don't even need you.